Well, it's a great pleasure to be joined by Mario Andretti on the podcast. Mario, it's good to see you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now, the focus of this interview is, of course, the Cadillac project, which the countdown is well and truly on for. We saw the team launch, or the brand launch, at the Miami Grand Prix just a week or so ago. And it's probably less than 7 months now, I suppose, till preseason testing next year, whoever's counting, which means barely half a year until Cadillac's first car will hit the track. How are you feeling about the team's readiness working against the clock, but also from the sidelines, yet to have obviously start racing in Formula One?
Well, I think, the project is ongoing. It's been ongoing. So I think, from our standpoint, from what I see, and I think we're pretty much, say, on schedule. I don't think there's any panic at the moment. So, everyone knows what we're facing, the headline, the deadlines and so on and so forth. So, no matter where you stand on any project in a sport, you always could use more time. But the bottom line, I think we're on. We're okay. Everything is progressing.
Yeah, I'm sure that the to-do list gets only slightly shorter and the months tick by very, very quickly, Mario. But I guess a key question for a lot of fans is that everyone wants to know about the team's driver lineup because, we're in a situation, there's relatively few contracts up for renewal at the moment, and Cadillac has 2 seats that are up for grabs. And, part of the willingness to know what's going on for all the fans is there's these rumours that Sergio Perez is fairly far down the road of agreeing a deal. And so talk to us a little bit about Sergio. I mean, where does it stand with him? And I'm also wondering, because he's got such a strong Latin American backing, is he a good fit for this team as it starts to form its identity? Because you are starting with a blank sheet of paper at the moment, aren't you?
Well, Matt, all I can tell you is that he's certainly one of the drivers that's being considered. He has to be. I cannot divulge as to where we are with any commitment whatsoever. I think we want to keep that luxury to ourselves until we feel that we have scanned the entire spectrum of availability, if you will. I think that's a prudent thing to do. What's encouraging is that there is really some good reaction to individuals that want to join. I think that's a good thing for us. And then at the same time, the choice is somewhat limited. Let's face it. A lot of the great talents are already under contract. But fortunately, still there are a few out there, 3 or 4, I'll say maybe 3, that certainly deserve consideration, and all of this is being looked upon very seriously. There's some conversation going on somewhere and some other places. No, so. That's as far as I can tell you, quite honest, to be fair to everyone.
Yeah.
So since this project has started, or since it started even in its Andretti phase of the bid, there's been a lot of talk about it offering a chance an F1 chance rather, to an American driver. And I think we all get it, though. You've got to find the right one, don't you? You can't just pick any American who knows how to drive a car and put him into Formula One. The preparation needs to be correct. But why has that been such an important part of the mission, and why does it continue to be part of something that may form the future of Cadillac's driver lineup?
Well, I think, in a truly international series, the IndyCar series is very international. If you look at the roster there, they have more foreigners than homebred talent. So, but Formula One, again, every event except, the U.S. is obviously enjoying 3 events, but every other event is happening somewhere else, some other continent, some other country. and there's a lot of national pride that goes with that. And since we haven't had a lot of participation as of late in Formula One, um, I think to have a vehicle, to have a team that really, truly uh, consider, American, I think that the the idea of trying to look at probably bringing some talent from here is for real. But at the same time, especially when you're starting out, you have to try to consider the team itself. Go on merit, if you will. If we feel that right at the moment we might wait a season or so before we bring in an American, so be it. So, as I said, the idea or the optimum idea would be if we could definitely say, yes, we have the American already. And at one point, maybe we might have thought so, but we want to keep that option open, if you will. I think it's really important to try to arm the team the best way possible, especially going in.
Well, and we were talking about American drivers just there. I think a lot of our listeners would be pretty astonished to know that you're still the most recent American Formula One Grand Prix winner. If I'm remembering correctly, Zandvoort in '78, if I've got my history books right. But
Yeah.
the US, we know how big a contributor the US is to the global motorsport fabric, but not so much to F1 for decades. So, from your perspective, where are all the American drivers? We know they exist, but what's this disconnect with Formula One been about? And I guess the other question with Cadillac coming in, how does Cadillac potentially act as a bridge between that possible disconnect with these good American drivers and Formula One? Because it doesn't make sense that you're the most recent Grand Prix winner in Formula One, 47 years ago?
Well, yes, but yes, to answer the initial part of the question is the fact that in America you have series at the top level where you could have a full career and be totally satisfied. Let's face it. You have the IndyCar series, you have NASCAR, the stock cars, and you have IMSA, with the sports prototype. So it's probably the only country that can offer someone really a top level career, if you will, in motorsport. So you have that, and that's why Formula One has not been front and center. But at the same time, many of the European teams have not looked at our talents very favorably. So I think that I like to think that there are some young talents that actually are would like to look at opportunities if they exist. And I think I like to say that we will open that door, with time as time comes. I mean, we're talking about having Formula 3, Formula 2 in our portfolio, and maybe even create some of our own, like we've done in IndyCar. We created champions in the Indy Light Series and all of that, and brought them on at the top level. So it's a process, but at the same time, I think we will create a way of maybe embracing some of the talents that are not being embraced at the moment.
So I want to drill down on that, I guess, because it sort of suggests that without Cadillac, maybe that gap between the US and its homegrown scene and European motorsport has got too large. And I remember some comments from, of course, your son, Michael, who, when he was in F1 in the 90s, and he made the comment more recently as well, that he felt there was a certain kind of snobbery about drivers from the US. Do you think that very much still exists? It sounds like you do. And what's it going to take to break that down? Is it just getting them in there, or does there need to be a broader cultural shift you can influence? Of course, you stepping across two worlds, I guess, personally.
Well, I can tell you, firsthand. I mean, I've experienced that. I've never felt snobbed, in Formula One. I beg to differ with Michael, quite honestly. I mean, you earn your way. I mean, it's a way of earning the respect. And I enjoyed it. I felt at home immediately. I was fortunate to be with a top team. Started out my first experience with Lotus and Ferrari, and on and on. But at the same time, um, I always felt, and I do to today, feel very much at home. I'm just talking. I have a lifetime friendships with mechanics. I just talked to Beaky just this morning, from England, and we're talking, with Bob Dance and all the mechanics that have been with me throughout, the championship years and otherwise. I have Italian mechanics that work with us and have experience that we won together. Motorsports is, it's worldwide, obviously, but there's still a family. There's a family feeling to it. I know I could walk up and down the paddock in Le Mans, and probably out of 20 teams, maybe 15 of them, there's someone that I work with, So that's what it is. I always, feel at home very much, and again, it's all about respect and earning the respect.
I know it takes you a long while to walk from one end of the paddock to the other at any circuit, Mario, but we were talking about US drivers and how important they are to F1's popularity in the US. But at the same time, the US has now got 3 races, basically all sold out: Austin and Vegas and now Miami coming on. The sport really seems to be in a good place in the US at the moment. So from your perspective, how is F1 viewed there in the sporting landscape? Because we know how big the US and how the big sports in the US soak up a lot of the oxygen. How's F1 perceived now within the US? And do you think an American driver is the thing that takes it over the top, or is it already riding this wave of popularity anyway?
Well, I think it's definitely riding a wave of popularity, no question, unprecedented. But you still have to feed that. And as I said, I think there's a lot of national pride. The fact that we have 3 races here, why not have the opportunity, to cultivate and have some of the U.S. fans root for American drivers at one point. So I think, like I said, all of this is looking forward to the future, if you will. But these are the things to work toward, I think, because it's all positive. And if you have a bubble like we do here, you have to keep feeding that bubble. You don't want to let it burst.
I like that a lot. I want to come back to the Cadillac team now, I suppose, because we've seen, over the last 6 months in particular, or since the confirmation was made at the end of last year, there are a lot of experienced heads joining the team now. It's certainly building up. And like I said, that countdown is on. Next year is totally up in the air with a big regulation change. That's the case for every team. So what are those experienced guys in the team telling you is realistic to achieve? Or is that just an impossible question when there are so many uncertainties in 2026?
Well, as you said, everyone has started with a clean sheet of paper, which I think for a startup team, it's probably the best time to get involved, if you will. But any way you look at it, there are no guarantees. Everyone is doing their level best to try to conform, and reading regulations is like a lawyer reading the law. It's about proper interpretation and don't leave anything on the table. So that's all. That's what it is across the board. And, I think we're very fortunate to have a lot of experience already in the team, individuals that have started teams before. That's very valuable, as you can imagine. And the other thing that's really interesting, guys, is the fact that I get almost daily letters from young lads just out of university. I want to pursue the career of an aerodynamicist, so this and that. Could I please would consider us joining the Cadillac team and all of that. And I mean, I love that. I love that, to have that sort of interest out there that exists within young lads that are looking forward to a career, and they would love to even get started with us. I mean, there's something good about that.
Oh,
And this, I
absolutely.
mean, there are friendships, and we're looking at all of that. We're looking at very seriously at some of these requests and so on and so forth. So on the inside here, what we're experiencing, there's a lot of positive energy all around. So that, I think, is very important.
Mario, before we let you go, there's one that I'd like to finish on because it's probable that the first race for the team will be Melbourne next year. Obviously, no calendar confirmed, but we're fingers crossed that's going to be the case. But look, the team's not going to carry the Andretti name in the end. But for you, how proud of a moment will it be when that first Cadillac car rolls out of pit lane and lines up on the grid for its first Grand Prix? Given it's been such a journey to get there, that moment, that first race must be something that's been front of mind for you for quite some time now.
Well, I tell you why I will feel very, very pleased, very proud, because I go back to the late 60s when I remember, at Riverside, California, Can-Am race, and I just bonded with Zora Dantoff, who was the Belgian who created, I think, considered the father of the Corvette. And he and I, being immigrants, myself from Italy, him from Belgium, we sort of came together, and we were already, somewhat pretty well set up in the sport. And I kept saying to Zora, you must get General Motors into Formula One. And this is historic. It's coming. And the excitement that I see within the company on the technical side is pure joy. I'm telling you. And that's the part that I really like the most, that everyone is looking forward to it. And when General Motors is ready to put forth all of what they can contribute, technically to the sport, is not a bad thing for not only for America, but for the sport itself.
It is going to be a big moment, like you say, for the sport, for everyone watching, probably, hopefully, in Melbourne as well. So no bad thing. Mario, the 1978 Formula One World Champion, thank you so much for joining us.
So we'll have a beer together.
I'll hold you to it.
You're in.